Kia ora koutou, Flosstube. Hello, it's Nancy from Natterings with Nancy from New Zealand or NZ. Back again for my second Flosstube. It has been very irregular because it has been a month or more than a month since I did my first ever Flosstube, and in that time I thought there were many times that I would get on and do another Flosstube, but apparently life is just very busy and I didn't get around to it. And in the moments that I did think I would, I decided that I would rather sit and stitch for that time. So today is day off for me, which is really nice. I've been doing some life admin things like got my hair done and have printed some photos for an exhibition I've got coming up, as well as other little odd jobs, trialing contacts today. So yeah, we'll see how those go. Otherwise next time you might be seeing me in my glasses. Yeah, do a bit of life update at the end of the thing as well. But thought, yeah, I'll roll off into some of the projects. So if you've seen my first Flosstube, we will just carry on with the projects that I have worked on since then. Some of them I haven't worked on, and also from the comments from my first Flosstube, some people would like to see some of the other embroidery that I've been doing. So I have dug those out of their different bags that they've been hanging out in, and I will show them off. I don't know when I plan to stitch on them again. Probably should. I have seen that the water soluble pen is starting to fade on them, which isn't great when you're trying to follow a pattern, but that's all good. So I have had it finish since last time, and now it's the mission of finding it. I thought I had everything prepared, but apparently I haven't. So just sorry about it. Well, I have a quick nosy to see if I can find my finished project. I have all my other bags, of course, but clearly not the one with the finished project in it. So the finish that I have is the gorilla. So the gorilla is my first cross stitch that I ever worked on. It was a pick to pat, which I created off of a photo, and it eludes me right now. So I'm not sure where it is, and because I'm not sure where it is, and I don't want you guys just watching me digging around and things for my project, I reckon I'll just move on and we'll get back to looking at that later on if I can find it, or I throw in a photo here. Yeah, whoops, should have been more organised. How about we move on to Saga? I've definitely worked on Saga. So Saga is a long dog sampler. I am using Silks for You thread, which is a variegated thread in blues. The code is PR147 to stitch this one. This project was at 4.2% and I had done 4,401 stitches. I have been working on it this month with different games I am playing with the Whip Warriors, and I have managed to get it up to 9.1%. So my total stitch count on this one is 9,536, which means this month, or since my last Flosstube, I have done 5,135 stitches on it, which I think is quite impressive for me, given that my average stitch count is about 200 a day, between mum life and working, and we've been on a family holiday, so there's been a few days when I haven't been able to stitch, but yeah, I am intending on finding a before photo, so if I do, it's either already been up or will be popped up in this little bracket, and this is where we are at currently. Hopefully we're going to be able to see it very nicely. Bring it into the camera. So I started in the section with the giraffes and I have finished that little block, and now I'm moving along to the section next to it on the left. I think my plan is to move all the way to the border that way and then maybe go up or down, haven't decided. But yeah, that's the part I am working in at the moment. I find tracking it and noticing how I stitch, that actually stitching on Saga is quite fast for me. I'm guessing it's because it's just one thread, so because you're only using the one thread, it doesn't really matter where you're going with it. I am sometimes intentional about how it works with the variegated thread, for it to kind of make sense, but in the end I've decided it doesn't really matter. It's going to look beautiful when it's done. So that's where I'm at with Saga. Other Worlds was the next one that I showed everyone. I haven't done any work on that, so that is still where it was. And I think the reason that I didn't do any work on that is that it wasn't in a Q-snap. We've since bought more Q-snaps, and because it wasn't in a Q-snap, it wasn't easy to just pick up and carry on from where I was. For some reason, it's a barrier for me to switch something out of one Q-snap and into another. So now that I've got a Q-snap with it, I'm hoping that I'll stitch on it more. I've also copied the paper pattern because it came as paper pattern, that now I'll be able to mark it off as I go, whereas before I was just trying to do 10 by 10 squares on it. And yeah, turns out I'm much more of a cross-country stitcher, so having the printouts or the copies will make it easier for me to mark off where I've been and where I'm going. My next project that I have worked on is the Heaven and Earth Designs stitch along. I'm working on Rainbow Dragon, so I haven't been working to the targets that I had set myself, but I have decided I'm okay with that because my ultimate goal is to finish the page completions for this one at the end of the year. So I believe that's 4 pages to be completed to get the other patterns that were part of the stitch along. If I did finish the whole pattern, then I will get to choose 2 patterns off of Heaven and Earth Design website. But I couldn't help myself, and I've already gone and bought some of those patterns off of Heaven and Earth Designs, and realizing how many stitches there are in them with my stitch rate as to how many years it's going to take me to complete them, I'm not bothered if I don't get more patterns, as well as all the eye rolls that I get from my partner around it. So yeah, here is the Heaven and Earth Design Rainbow Dragon. I was at 1.77% of what has been released so far, which was 405 stitches. I have got up to 1,899 stitches, which is 8.28% of it. I guess I was maybe hoping to be closer to the, I don't know, 30 to 50% mark. That's maybe not the greatest with a backlit. Let's put a pillow behind it. Yeah, but it's starting to take form. So there's a lot of confetti in there, which has been a lot longer process for me to stitch. I've also miscounted something, so I have to frog some of it. I haven't worked out what part I need to do that to yet. So I need probably daylight hours. I need my kids to not be around in order to do that, so it's probably a task that I will get to today right after I finish filming my Flosstube before I do school pickups. But yeah, that's my Heaven and Earth design. It's I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying that I can start to see the shape forming. I think I'm really enjoying that. It's for my first full coverage piece. So I know like the gorilla was full coverage, but it was the form of a gorilla. That yeah, I am enjoying working on it, and there's lots of beautiful colours. So I have bobbinated all of the full skeins that came with it, and then all the other ones that are just in like metre or 2 metre cut off pieces that I haven't put on bobbins yet, but I might just so it's all together, so that then I can just pick up the project bag and take it with me if that's what I'm going to stitch on when I'm going away for part of a weekend or something. The next one that I have worked on was the Anzeg Mystery Sampler. So that was the one that has different types of patterns. I was particularly working on the Wessex stitch. I plan to put a photo in of where it was at. my goal from last Flosstube was to finish it, so I have done that, and I have finished the Wessex section of it, and this is how it looks. So my understanding of Wessex stitch is it's a lot of layering, and layering of colours, layering of different techniques or different patterns, so that has come together quite nicely. It's all been inspired from the tartan, which is the central piece of this design. So I've tried to pull through the colours into my other pieces. So now I have completed 3 out of 19 squares on the sampler. Some of the ladies in my guild that I'm a part of in Whakatane have completed theirs entirely and turned them into their end product, so they've attached them to canvas bags. I believe both of them have. There are a few of us that are still working on the sampler, so I need to decide which section I'm going to do next. I have kind of been doing them in the areas in order that they were released, which means if I'm to do that, my next one is going to be the first block in the top left hand corner, and it is a tukutuku panel, or inspired by a tukutuku panel, which are found in a lot of meeting houses in New Zealand, like in Māori places. So on a marae you will find a lot of them, so that's what the design is inspired by. I haven't decided which colours I will put into it, because like the colours I've chosen in my tartan don't match with traditional colours that would be used with it, but I will maybe plan that. I hope to have started stitching on it before my next Flosstube for my accountability. Who knows, I may even finish it. I find with this, if I really enjoy whatever it is that I'm stitching on here, that I will just power through and get it done. Because of the joy that I get out of seeing it develop and build. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens there. I did notice, because I was stitching this with a wooden hoop, that now I'm maybe a little bit more impartial to Q-snaps, and I might try and put it on a Q-snap. The weave is much looser though than what we use for cross stitch, so it may not sit nicely, but that's okay. We'll give it a go. Anyway, those were my 2 goals from the last Flosstube, was to complete the gorilla and work on the Wessex. I just have one more quick little scope around to see if I can find my gorilla that was finished. Man, just always the way. I mean, I found chocolate, so that's something. Like, I'll get into that bag later. Good to know that there's been chocolate sitting in the lounge and the children haven't found it. I feel like it's in a disappeared place. Very typical Nancy, that. Just lose the thing that she finishes. Oh well. Sorry team, it'll be somewhere. I haven't got a frame for it or anything, so it's not like I've started to frame it, and I will show it to everyone framed before I send it off to my friend. So I have told my friend about it now, whose son I was stitching it for when she was pregnant. He is coming up 6, so it will get in the post to them at some point this year, as soon as I find it. I can't even remember where I may have put it to go look over in the bookshelf or anything, but that's okay. The other things I've been working on since the last Flosstube is that I've started something new. So the new start isn't actually something that I can show people, because if I like it, I am planning on putting it into the exhibition down in Dunedin, Otipoti, later this year. So the pattern is in the Threads magazine. It is called, the challenge is Te Wero Tuia, and it's the embroidery challenge. So this is the pattern which has been provided to us. The artist is pictured on the other side. his name is Evan Lewis, and he has created a whole heap of different patterns. So at Stitch Tui last year, there was a challenge that people could enter, and it's another one of his designs that people could then turn into an embroidery piece. So the parameters of this is that you can do any type of stitch that you want. So you can do anything with it, any technique. It just has to be a particular size, which is on there, and it needs to be unframed board or canvas for displaying, mounting purposes. So I have a plan for mine and I am working on it. It is a new start, so I have put in a couple of hours work, maybe a little bit more so far. I need to remember when the time is that it needs to be done, but I have a feeling that it has to be done by April, I think, maybe end of April, because the exhibition and the conference is in July. So I have to have decided by April if I'm entering it. I think it has to be sent by May, but don't quote me on the dates. I will read the information properly and put it in my diary so that I can work backwards and tell myself how many hours I need to put into the project each week to get it in on time. It's all an experiment for me, so I'm not sure if it's going to work out or if I like it. I don't expect it's going to be something that places. However, it's a good challenge for myself just to get out there, because what's the harm in trying something new? I mean, look at me. I'm doing my second Flosstube because this was outside of my comfort zone and I wanted to give it a go. So yeah, that is one of my new starts. My other new starts, I haven't actually started them. I've just bought more patterns. So I've got a bit of a problem there. The problem starts with Flosstubers and finding these Flosstubers that show you all the work that they're working on, and you go, oh, that would be cool and I could do that. And then off I go to Etsy or to wherever else I've been going, mostly Etsy, and then I buy some more patterns. And then I start to get all of the threads for it, and then I get more Q snaps because I've worked out that I need to have Q snaps so that then I carry on working on the project. And then all of a sudden we're on a slippery slope, and one day I'm going to be, I don't know, as bad as some of my friends who have way too many projects on the go. But I guess that's what Stash is, right? And we just wait and see what this evolves into. And other things. Whip Warriors is a Facebook group that I was a part of, or have been a part of this year, that's really helping me stitch and work towards stitching. So it is a group, I believe you have to sign up by a certain time, so you can't sign up this year if you're not already signed up, but it will be open again later in the year if you want to sign up for next year. But they've got different admin people that are facilitating different games. It's all just virtual games where you might like the one that I'm a part of is the road trip, and it's the Great Aussie Road Trip. So we have been tripping around Australia. We're just coming up to completion of the first leg and about to start the second leg. So the first leg has just been about us experiencing what it's like and what the expectations are, how to go about doing things. There has been quite a bit of confusion, but people are working through it. And so I am a planner, so I have been writing my plans out and trying to work towards my goals. I think I'm probably one of the slower ones in the pack. Partially though, this month it was that I was on a family holiday and we didn't have reception, and so I wasn't posting regularly. I also wasn't stitching as many stitches because we were busy sightseeing in real life, doing family things together. We were staying in accommodation where the lighting wasn't amazing at night, so when the kids were all in bed, it wasn't something I could do, was sit and stitch. But I have almost caught up. I'm about to finish the first leg. I've got a few hundred stitches to go on my shopping items, and then I will move on to the next part. And it's a good challenge to stay on top of my whips. I don't think I would have had all these thousands of stitches otherwise. They do other games though as well, like categories and like, I don't know, I haven't been paying attention to all the games. There's different games. I get categories, that makes sense to me. I just don't think I have enough whips on the go to be able to associate different things within the projects to whatever this category is based on the letter. So if it was animal, and it was D, it needed to have a dog on it. I don't think I've got enough that I could find that, or, you know, a dinosaur or something. Maybe as I start more of my projects from the patterns I've bought, I'll be able to play that game. But in the meantime, I'm just trucking on and keeping going with the road trip, because it is helping me stick to my stitches. I think that's all on my update of cross-stitch related Flosstube. But I do have 2 projects that are whips that are embroidery. So I'm going to show you those. The first one I've pulled out is my takahe. So a takahe is a native bird in New Zealand. It's quite a beautiful bird. Their population is dwindling and they are only found in some parts of New Zealand. The artist and designer of this embroidery piece is Kate Longley. She's based in Auckland. She taught this class at the last national conference in embroidery school, which was in 2022, and I was able to attend this 2-day class. The class and the pattern is long and short stitch is the style of embroidery, so it's like people call it painting with threads. Here is the completed project that she has done. Sorry, it's a bit glary in my file. Yeah, slightly less glary. So yeah, mostly it's long and short stitch. There are a few French knots in there and some bullion knots, I believe they are as well. And yeah, it's really cool. So this is my project and how much I've done. So I have done the beak and the eye. I believe I did both of those while we were at the conference. The feet, and as you can see, I've changed it from where I drew on it, but that marker will wash off. And then the thread painting of the tail feathers, and working my way up the body. Some of that pen, the soluble pen, is starting to wash off, so I will need to go over it again, but I've still got the pattern to do so. And I will get to that in due course. I think I've worked out that I'm a little bit pedantic when it comes to long and short stitch, whereas another person from our guild who did this course with me, she's finished hers, but she does longer stitches than what I do. And I think that's the thing with long and short stitches, that you can actually make up for it later on. It's just the first time I'm doing something and I have some perfectionist traits, so then I want to make sure that I'm doing it properly right from the get-go. So yeah, so I've got all the kit for that, and then while I was there, she was also doing another 2 days after the 2-day course, but I only had a 6-month-old baby at the time, so it was a little bit too much. Maybe she was younger than that, too much to be away from her for so long. So I bought her other pattern, which is a kotare or a kingfisher, and that one I will do as well. So it's on a similar shade of fabric, similar style and stitch. This one only has some French knots as well as the long and short stitch, not the bullion knots as well. So this one's more of a beginner's one, and the takahe was maybe more of an intermediate one. But they will be beautiful when they're done. I usually like things in threes though, so I might have to do another design and just turn it into a pattern, or check in with her and see if she's designed another bird so that I can hang 3 together. The other thing that I have been working on, this has been since maybe 2021. I haven't written down when I started this one, but this is a tui, which is another native New Zealand bird. It was designed by Robin Hart. She's an embroiderer who's also from Auckland, and she was running this as a class. She came to our guild and did it at our guild. So the top one there is the tui. I also have the piwakawaka or fantail and the kereru or wood pigeon as patterns as well. Or yeah, I've got the patterns and I've got all the pieces needed to make it. But I am just working on the tui at the moment. So this is a combination of embroidery techniques. The parts that I've completed are predominantly the stump work areas. So stump work is embroidery that is 3-dimensional, so it comes off of the canvas, so we stitch around wire. I have, it's in pieces, so you may not, I don't know, it may not look great. This is my backing fabric and what it's going to be on, and I will stitch the branch and some of the leaves on here, and this is where the bird will be placed and whatnot. So I have the body, so this is the tui's body, with different techniques through the wattle and, well, not the wattle, but you know, it's little fluffy feathers there. Some of the pattern down there. It's got a beaded eye on there as well. This is its little beak, which is all stump work, and it will be raised off of the thing. Make sure I'm showing it the right way around. It's difficult to tell because it was a rayon is what I've stitched on the inside there. Where are we? Focus. No, it doesn't want to focus, sorry. It's a pretty little beak, and that will be its beak. And then this is its tail. So the tail will go down and through there. So you thread it through the fabric onto the back and like stick it down. So yeah, those are the pieces of my tui. Tui are renowned for being found in kowhai tree. So a kowhai tree has beautiful yellow flowers on it. So these are parts of my kowhai. They are also stitched with rayon. It's a satin stitch after it's had like buttonhole stitch around the outside. And yeah, they will then have another element that is stitched on the main base fabric to complete it, and it makes it more 3-dimensional, I guess, or more interactive. So that is my other project that is on the go. I want to say it was 2021 when I started this project, but I may not be right with that. A couple other people in the guild that I'm a part of are also working on it, so I tend to go to them for advice when I do work on it. Last Stitch Tui, which is a weekend away for stitching, that is the project I predominantly worked on. And it was really good because there was another of our members there who had also taken hers to work on, so we could kind of check in with each other and where we were and if we were both on track. But yeah, so those are my other projects that have been on the go. Yeah, I have not picked them up. I'm not making any goals to pick them up right at this moment, because I've got enough when it comes to stitching projects on the go, I think. Yeah, there's enough on the go. I think that's all for a little update from me. The only other thing that I am going to push myself to do after this Flosstube is I am going to be more active on my Instagram page that I made for my stitching. So I might put stories up of things that I'm stitching on, like starts and finishes and what progress I'm making. So if that's something that interests you in terms of following along on the day-to-day journey of stitching, then you're welcome to find me. My handle's at Natterings with Nancy from NZ. So same as my YouTube channel. And yeah, I will try to post a few sneak peeks of different things or what I'm working on, so that then you can see some progress, especially if it's another month before my next Flosstube and the progress I've made. I am going to go and try and find that gorilla because I know I have finished it and put it somewhere. So yeah, hopefully I've put a picture up of it in this Flosstube for you to see. Otherwise, I will bring it along to the next one. I think that's all. Thank you so much for following my journey of stitching, for chatting with me in the comments, for my friend Judy at An Aussie in a Kiwi World, for her shout out the other day when she did her Flosstube update. That was really heartwarming. Thank you so much. But yeah, happy stitching, and I will see you at the next Flosstube whenever I get around to doing that. Ka kite!